Japanese taxi drivers regularly push Toyota engines past 600,000 miles on the original block. Meanwhile, the same exact engine in America barely survives 200,000. The difference is not the car, not the fuel, and not the climate. This is a maintenance philosophy that Toyota engineered into every engine it builds, but never fully explained to Western markets. In Japan, this approach is standard practice. Mechanics learn it during training. Taxi fleets follow it religiously. And Toyota designs every gasket, every oil passage, and every cooling channel expecting this level of care. In America, almost nobody follows it. That gap between Japanese maintenance discipline and American habits is where engines silently lose 200,000 miles of life they were built to deliver. What you are about to learn is not a single magic trick. It is the complete Japanese engine maintenance system that Toyota owners were never taught, broken into the exact steps that separate engines lasting 150,000 miles from engines lasting 400,000 miles and beyond. And once you understand the logic behind each one, you will never maintain your Toyota the same way again. Secret number 1. The Japanese warm-up idle that protects every internal surface. In America, drivers start their Toyota and immediately pull out of the driveway. In Japan, this is considered engine abuse. Japanese mechanics follow a cold start idle protocol that allows oil to fully pressurize and reach every bearing, every cam journal, and every hydraulic lash adjuster before any load is applied. The reason is simple. When a Toyota engine sits overnight, oil drains from the upper cylinder head back into the oil pan. The camshafts, rocker arms, and the variable valve timing actuators mounted on the front of each camshaft are temporarily dry. When the engine starts, the oil pump begins pushing oil from the pan through the oil filter, up through the main oil gallery that runs along the engine block, and into the upper head. That journey takes time. On a cold morning, it can take 30 to 60 seconds before full oil pressure reaches the cam lobes sitting at the very top of the engine. Japanese taxi drivers idle for at least 30 seconds in warm weather and up to 90 seconds in freezing conditions before engaging the transmission. This single habit dramatically reduces cam lobe wear, timing chain stretch, and variable valve timing actuator failure. Toyota oil pump data confirms that pressure stabilization during cold start takes measurably longer than most owners assume. American drivers who skip this step are grinding metal against metal every single morning. Secret number 2. The short-trip carbon purge that Japanese fleets perform religiously. Short trips are the #1 silent killer of Toyota engines in America, and nearly every commuter is guilty. When a Toyota engine never reaches full operating temperature, fuel vapors, moisture, and combustion byproducts accumulate inside the crankcase and around the piston rings. Over weeks and months, those deposits bake into hardite carbon that locks oil control rings in place and restricts the narrow oil drainback passages cast into the cylinder head. In Japan, fleet managers schedule what translates roughly to a carbon purge drive. Once every week or two, the vehicle is driven at sustained highway speed for at least 20 to 30 minutes. This allows oil temperature to climb past 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is significantly hotter than what short city trips produce. At that temperature, volatile contaminants burn off through the positive crankcase ventilation system and the PCV valve mounted on the valve cover, and moisture trapped in the oil evaporates before it can form sludge. Toyota oil analysis data consistently shows that engines driven exclusively on short trips produce 2 to 3 times the sludge concentration compared to engines that receive regular sustained highway drives. The purge drive is free. It requires no chemicals, no tools, and no appointment. Yet American Toyota owners almost never do it deliberately. Japanese mechanics consider it as essential as the oil change itself. Secret number 3, the cooling system flush cycle that prevents invisible corrosion. American Toyota owners change coolant when the dashboard light comes on, or when the fluid looks dirty. Japanese maintenance schedules treat cooling system health as a primary engine survival factor, not a secondary concern. Toyota engines rely on narrow coolant passages cast directly into the engine block and cylinder head to regulate combustion temperatures. These passages are barely wider than a pencil in some areas, particularly around the exhaust valve seats where temperatures are highest. When coolant degrades, it becomes more acidic and the corrosion inhibitors break down. Acidic coolant attacks the soft aluminum alloy that Toyota uses in nearly every modern engine block. That corrosion creates microscopic pitting inside the water jacket, which reduces heat transfer efficiency and eventually causes localized hotspots. Japanese fleet schedules call for a complete cooling system. Flush every 50,000 miles or sooner, using Toyota's recommended long-life coolant. The process involves draining the entire system, including the engine block drain plug located on the lower side of the block, flushing with distilled water, and refilling with the correct coolant-to-water ratio. American drivers who skip this step often face head gasket failure, warped cylinder heads, or thermostat housing cracks, all traced back to cooling system neglect that allowed corrosion to silently weaken the engine from the inside out. A $30 flush every 50,000 miles prevents $3,000 to $5,000 in catastrophic overheating damage. Secret number 4, the Toyota spark plug heat index rule that controls combustion deposits. Most American owners replace spark plugs when the engine starts misfiring, which is already far too late. Japanese Toyota maintenance treats spark plug condition as a direct indicator of combustion health. Toyota engines are designed with specific spark plug heat ranges that control how efficiently the electrode burns off carbon deposits during normal operation. When plugs wear beyond their service life, the electrode gap widens, ignition efficiency drops, and unburned fuel residue begins coating the piston crown and the intake valve faces. On direct injection, Toyota engines like the D4S system, found in the 2GR FKS V6, carbon buildup on the backside of the intake valves is already a known issue because fuel never washes over the valve to clean it. Worn spark plugs accelerate this problem dramatically. Japanese service intervals call for iridium plug replacement every 60,000 miles, regardless of how the engine feels. Fresh plugs restore optimal spark energy, reduce misfires that send raw fuel into the catalytic converter, and maintain the precise combustion temperatures that Toyota's variable valve timing system depends on. Waiting until a misfire code appears means carbon has already hardened on the valves and the piston rings, and removing it becomes far more invasive and expensive. Secret number 5. The transmission fluid discipline that American owners almost universally ignore. Toyota transmissions, particularly the 8-speed automatic units found in the Camry, RAV4, and Highlander, are engineered to last well beyond 200,000 miles when the fluid is maintained properly. In Japan, transmission fluid is treated with the same respect as engine oil. Automatic transmission fluid serves as a lubricant, a coolant, and a hydraulic medium all at once. When it degrades, shift quality deteriorates, internal clutch packs slip under load, and heat builds inside the torque converter. Toyota's world standard automatic transmission fluid, is specifically formulated to maintain viscosity across a wide temperature range. Japanese maintenance schedules call for a drain and fill every 60,000 miles, not a flush. A drain and fill replaces roughly 40% of the fluid, while preserving the adaptive shift logic stored in the transmission control module. If you made it this far, then consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Secret number 6. The Japanese brake fluid replacement routine that protects the entire hydraulic system. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. That means it absorbs moisture directly from the atmosphere through microscopic pores in rubber brake hoses and through the reservoir cap on top of the brake master cylinder, which is mounted to the firewall on the driver's side. Over 2 to 3 years, moisture contamination lowers the boiling point of the fluid significantly. In Japan, brake fluid replacement every 30,000 miles or 2 years is considered non-negotiable. American owners routinely drive 100,000 miles or more without ever replacing it. That moisture does more than reduce braking performance. It corrodes the internal bore of brake calipers, the ABS modulator valve body, and the master cylinder piston seals from the inside. Toyota service bulletins have documented premature ABS actuator failures linked directly to moisture-contaminated brake fluid. A $20 brake fluid change every 2 years prevents $800 to $2,000 in ABS and caliper failures that many owners wrongly blame on defective parts. Secret number 7. The air filter inspection habit that protects engine internals from abrasive damage. The engine air filter element, housed in the airbox on the intake side of the engine bay, is the only barrier between outside debris and the precisely machined cylinder walls inside your Toyota engine. Japanese mechanics inspect the air filter at every oil change interval, not just at the manufacturer-recommended replacement schedule. In dusty or urban environments, a filter can become restricted in half the normal service life. A clogged filter forces the engine to draw air harder, which increases vacuum pressure inside the intake manifold and can pull unfiltered air past the filter seal. Even microscopic particles of dust act as an abrasive compound once they enter the combustion chamber. They scratch the cylinder bore honing pattern that is responsible for retaining oil on the cylinder walls. Once that honing is damaged, oil consumption rises permanently, and no amount of fresh oil will reverse it. Japanese fleet operators in dusty regions replace air filters at double the frequency of standard schedules, and they consistently report lower oil consumption and longer engine life as a direct result. Secret number 8. The valve adjustment check that prevents catastrophic top-end failure. Many Toyota engines, particularly the two GR Series 5.6 and older 4-cylinder units, use mechanical valve clearances that require periodic inspection. In Japan, valve clearance inspection every 60,000 miles is standard practice. In America, this service is almost never requested by the owner and rarely suggested by general repair shops. When valve clearances tighten beyond specification, the intake and exhaust valves no longer seat fully against the cylinder head. This causes valve burning, compression loss, and eventually a complete misfire on one or more cylinders. When clearances open too far, the result is excessive tapping noise, reduced valve lift, and inefficient combustion. Toyota's shim-over-bucket design allows precise adjustment using calibrated shims positioned on top of each valve lifter bucket inside the cylinder head. A valve adjustment costing $200 to $400 at 60,000 miles prevents $2,000 to $4,000 in cylinder head and valve replacement costs later. Secret number 9. The fuel system cleaning strategy that maintains injector precision. Toyota fuel injectors deliver fuel in exact quantities, measured in milliseconds. When carbon and varnish deposits build up on the injector tips, the spray pattern distorts, fuel atomization weakens, and the engine management computer compensates by adjusting fuel trims. Over time, those compensations push the system beyond its optimal range, causing rough idle, hesitation, and increased fuel consumption. Japanese maintenance programs include periodic fuel system cleaning, using Toyota-approved detergent additives run through the intake every 30,000 to 50,000 miles. This practice keeps injector spray patterns sharp and prevents the ECU from drifting into correction ranges that mask deeper problems. American owners rarely address fuel system deposits until drivability complaints become severe, at which point the damage to oxygen sensors and catalytic converters has already begun. Secret number 10 is the Japanese documentation discipline that turns maintenance into a protection system. In Japan, every Toyota carries a detailed service record book that logs every fluid change, every inspection, and every part replacement with dates and mileage. This is not just for resale value. Japanese mechanics use these records to predict failure patterns and catch problems before they become emergencies. When oil consumption rises by even a small amount between changes, the trend is visible in the log and triggers early investigation. When coolant levels drop slightly, the history reveals whether the loss is new or progressive. Without records, every symptom is a mystery. With records, every symptom has context. Toyota dealerships in Japan report that vehicles with complete maintenance documentation experience significantly fewer catastrophic engine failures because problems are caught during the gradual stage instead of the emergency stage. A simple notebook stored in the glove box, noting the date, mileage, oil type, filter brand, and any observations after each service creates a diagnostic history that protects the engine for its entire life. Every single practice in this list shares one principle. Prevention costs almost nothing. Repair costs everything. Japanese Toyota owners do not achieve 400,000 and 500,000 miles of engine life through better luck or better fuel. They achieve it through disciplined execution of maintenance steps that American owners either skip, delay, or never learned existed. Toyota built these engines to last. The Japanese maintenance system simply lets them. If you are enjoying this video, consider watching this one where I am sharing the exact habits that help Toyotas cross 700,000 miles.